Alright guys, we're back on OrdoAirsoft, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Airsoft Glock 17.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit.
Alright guys, so we recently picked up this Airsoft Glock 17. This is the Umarex version, and this version is officially licensed by Glock. So if you see on the side here, it's officially licensed product of Glock. This is a 1-to-1 replica of the Glock 17. So if we open the box, we have a couple things in here. We have obviously our Glock 17. We have a couple information sheets, and we also have this Mongo Allen key. So here's everything that comes in the box. Obviously the gun will come in a little bag. We didn't include that in here, but this Allen key is used for changing the CO2, because this is the CO2 version of the Glock 17. And this gun typically shoots about 335 FPS with 0.20 gram BBs. It takes a 12 gram CO2 cartridge, and this is the actual blowback version, so the slide will actually reciprocate with each shot. And this mag holds 23 rounds. So obviously, just like a standard Glock, mag releases on the side, drop the mag, and we have a little CO2 slot in here, and all your BBs go right in here in the mag. Now, there is a version of this Glock that has a stick mag. We would not recommend getting that. We would recommend getting at least the CO2 version or the green gas version. We prefer the CO2 version because it does have a little bit higher FPS. But the stick mag is it'll have just this part right here. That's it. So it doesn't have anything else. So if you're using it kind of for a training aspect, maybe for getting good with your actual Glock 17, it's good to have this one. This is a metal mag. It does have some weight to it, and it'll be a lot more like a real mag than an airsoft mag. So we like the CO2 version. We're going to be trying this gun out. We're going to disassemble this Glock 17 now, so you can see what it looks like inside. So before you disassemble your gun, obviously you want to make sure that the magazine is out. And with the magazine out on this gun, there's no CO2 in it, so there's no possible way that it can fire. It doesn't matter if there's a BB in the chamber or not, because there's no CO2 to power it. Now, if you're familiar with a real Glock 17, in order to take this apart, you move the slide all the way to the rear, you lock it back, and then you're going to use this little takedown lever right here. Once you pull the trigger, and the slide will go forward off of the rail. Now, one thing to mention is if your slide does get stuck in this position where it's forward a little bit but it's not coming off the rest of the way, you're going to obviously make sure, like I said, make sure it's unloaded. You're going to pull the trigger like that, and the slide should easily slide off the rest of the way. Alright, so now we have the gun semi-disassembled. So now we have the slides semi-disassembled. So one thing you're going to notice is these things do come very lubricated, so they're well oiled, which is good from the factory. And to adjust your hop up, you're going to see right there that little knob. This is going to be how you adjust your hop up. So you do have to disassemble it, but that is where you're going to adjust your hop up. Now we're going to take the barrel off. So now the barrel is off. One thing you're going to notice about the barrel is there's an inner barrel and outer barrel. So we're going to disassemble those now. So up top we have the inner barrel, and at the bottom we have the outer barrel. And like I said, it is very lubricated, so you can see all that oil that they have on there. And the recoil spring is also well oiled. And obviously this recoil spring is not going to be as strong as a recoil spring on the real weapon, because this recoil spring, its sole purpose is to have the slide return back in place. It's not actually controlling any recoil. And before we put this gun back together, one thing to mention, if you do forget which way the hop is, right on the other side of the barrel, if you can see right there, it has a little arrow to show you which way hop is. So now we're going to reassemble this gun. Alright, so we have the gun back assembled again, and one thing I forgot to mention is the screw to lock in your CO2 is right here at the bottom. So that's going to be using your Allen key, this Allen key right here, and that's going to tighten up the CO2 so that it punctures it. Obviously, once the CO2 is already punctured, you're not going to be able to take it out of the mag without absolutely freezing your hands off, so don't do that. And we will be testing this gun out at a couple fields. One thing on the Umrex website it said is this gun is not compatible with certain level 2 and level 3 holsters. We'll be confirming that. We think that's because they have the red tip on there, which that may or may not come off in the very near future. So one thing we're going to be testing that with is a couple of those holsters. We're also going to be testing the range on it, different hop-up settings, and different BB types. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
The fakeness, if you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive.